Let's welcome in Jenny Horne, markets correspondent, to get a closer look at what appears to be the star of the show today. That would be Palantir. Talk about a big beat here. Jenny, take us through some of the numbers and some of the details.
Yeah, really, Diane took the words right out of my mouth, because to call these results spectacular, I think, would even be an understatement, especially because we've been in such a meteoric run. And I feel like only further upside now ahead for Palantir, because they saw really strong guidance and blew past expectations, as well as some strong commentary from their CEO, Alex Karp. So, I mean, continuing to move to the upside just goes to show that when the bar is set so high, you don't always necessarily have to sell off the day following your earnings. So for the fourth quarter, we saw revenue of $828 million. That was up 36% year over year, 14% just sequentially. This resulted also in adjusted earnings per share of 14 cents, which climbed 75%. And again, to put the results in context, our earnings were estimated at around 11 cents a share versus the 782 million expected for revenue. So easily clear that bar. The results were, though, fueled by this U.S. commercial revenue that jumped 64% year over year and 20% sequentially, well ahead of management's guidance for growth of at least 50%. Their U.S. government growth segment also climbed about 45% as far as revenue is concerned. So customer metrics also underpinned the results. Their customer count grew about 43% from last year, driven by this 73% rise in U.S. customers. And also, we're seeing the fact that these deals, they're really massive amounts of deals that were opened during the quarter, were huge. They inked about 130 deals worth at least $1 million. Of those, 58 were worth at least $5 million, 32 were worth at least $10 million. So not only gaining business, but gaining the size of business, which is right, seen as huge. So there's definitely a lot to like. The stock is expensive, but I mean, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, I will say here. It's up 400% now off of lows.
I know. I mean, it is expensive, but I remember we were talking about this, the setup heading into this, and you wonder, could it continue to achieve these lofty milestones and grow at the pace that it has been growing, and it cleared the bar once again, and looks like it's on track to hit a new record today off the back of the record that it hit last week. And the CEO gave some bullish commentary, but it seems like there's meat there, certainly, especially when you look at the growth in commercial, because obviously government has been their biggest piece of the pie, but the pace of growth in commercial is huge, Jenny.
It is, because for a long time, I have focused on the stability and the stickiness of the government contracts in which it has operated and secured. I mean, really, over the summer, it felt like that started to ramp up, or at this point now, 2 summers ago, really was when that truly started. But I agree, their fastest growing business is also huge, because they're showing signs of diversification. And this is, again, Palantir proving to us this is a more mature company than the so-called meme stock it was somewhat associated with several years ago, which I know everyone always gets mad at, but it's true. It was at one point a pretty heavily sold short stock, and that's no longer the case. Does still trade at about 200 times its forward earnings, are slightly over actually now. So even though such open at a high today, very high valuation, but as we know with other names like the likes of Tesla, CrowdStrike, high valuations don't always limit growth. I mean, if a lot of times if you're able to put up numbers like they did, then perhaps you can make the argument it's valued. Not probably properly, but you could sort of justify those levels.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the big kids table now. All right, Jenny Horne, co-host of Next Gen, thanks so much for the deep dive on Palantir earnings.